What if everything you thought you knew about human history, creation, angels, and the divine was only part of the story? What if ancient knowledge, hidden for thousands of years, contained truths so profound, so unsettling, that it was intentionally kept out of the Bible? In this documentary, we will uncover the mysterious and forbidden secrets of a 2,000-year-old text, the Book of Enoch. Once lost, now rediscovered, its chilling revelations have sparked debates, controversy, and fascination among scholars, theologians, and truth-seekers around the world. Get ready for a journey into apocalyptic visions, fallen angels, heavenly secrets, and the origin of evil itself. Stay with us until the end. What you discover might change how you see the world and yourself. The Book of Enoch is not just another ancient manuscript, it is a provocative enigma that challenges the very fabric of religious orthodoxy. Found in the highlands of Ethiopia in 1773, this book had remained buried in secrecy for centuries. Unlike other biblical texts, Enoch was excluded from the canonical scriptures of both Judaism and most of Christianity, except for the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. But why? The answer lies in its content, full of cosmic wars, divine rebellions, and apocalyptic predictions. This was no ordinary holy book. It was a narrative too dangerous, too revealing to be allowed in mainstream theology. This exclusion only fueled curiosity and intrigue, leading many to believe it contains forbidden truths meant only for the spiritually courageous. What makes this book so controversial isn't just its age, but its content. Written well before the birth of Jesus Christ, the Book of Enoch tells a story of angels who defy divine law, descend to earth, and teach mankind forbidden knowledge. These angels, called the Watchers, do more than observe. They corrupt, they seduce, they break the sacred boundary between the heavenly and the earthly, and through their actions they give birth to the Nephilim, giants, hybrids of angel and human, who bring chaos to the earth. This concept alone threatens the theological foundation of angelic purity and divine order, explaining why so many early church fathers rejected it outright. But does rejection mean falsehood, or is it an act of suppression? Imagine you had access to knowledge so powerful it could unravel the accepted history of mankind. The Book of Enoch offers exactly that, and that's where its danger lies. It doesn't just expand our understanding, it dismantles it. It speaks of stars as conscious entities, of portals to other realms, and of a universe structured by divine laws unknown to modern science. The book reads less like a religious manual and more like a cosmic revelation. This unique blend of theology, astronomy, and mythology is what gives the Book of Enoch its mesmerizing appeal. It dares to explore what others fear to acknowledge, that the universe is far more mysterious and far more haunted than we ever imagined. One of the most fascinating aspects of the book is how it bridges myth and divinity. Where Genesis gives us a brief account of creation, Enoch expands it into realms unseen. It offers elaborate descriptions of heavenly journeys, angelic hierarchies, and the mechanics of divine judgment. These aren't symbolic passages. They are detailed narratives, as if Enoch himself was documenting experiences too vivid and specific to be mere imagination. And according to the text, that's exactly what happened. Enoch was chosen. He was taken, not by death but by God, into the realms of heaven, where he witnessed secrets no mortal was ever meant to know. This is not just scripture, it's cosmic testimony. But let's ask the obvious question. Why was this book buried for so long? The early church fathers, including Tertullian and Clement of Alexandria, praised it, until it became too problematic. Its prophecies of the Messiah were too on the nose for Jewish authorities. Its descriptions of heavenly realms challenged the church's evolving doctrines. Its tales of angels mating with women were simply too wild, too taboo. So it was cast out, labeled pseudepigraphical, and forgotten. But forgotten only by some. In Ethiopia, it was preserved, cherished, and passed down through generations, waiting for the moment the world would be ready to hear its truth. That time is now. We must remember, forbidden knowledge is still knowledge, and often it's forbidden not because it's false, but because it's powerful. The Book of Enoch challenges us to confront the unknown, to step beyond the boundaries of sanitized religion, and to ask deeper questions. What is the true nature of angels? What lies beyond death? What hidden codes govern the universe? This isn't fiction. It's ancient wisdom that echoes with relevance in our modern age. And for those brave enough to seek, it offers a revelation unlike any other. As we begin this journey into Enoch's world, I invite you to listen with an open heart and an awakened mind. Challenge what you think you know. Allow yourself to question the narrative you've been told. And remember, sometimes the truth isn't found in what's preserved, but in what's hidden. If you're ready to unlock the doors of forbidden knowledge, stay with us. There's much more to uncover. Long before modern science began to study celestial bodies and the patterns of the stars, the Book of Enoch described an intricate and highly advanced understanding of the cosmos. This wasn't poetic imagery. It was precise, mathematical, and deeply structured. Enoch was shown the courses of the stars and the laws that governed the heavens. He described portals in the sky through which the sun and moon would travel, each with its own assigned angelic guardian. Think about that. An ancient text, written millennia ago, already speaking of systems and patterns in the universe. It's no surprise that some now compare these revelations with astronomical discoveries. Could it be that Enoch's visions were not hallucinations, but downloads of divine science far ahead of his time? There is a deeper layer in these cosmological revelations, one that bridges spirituality with physics. Enoch claims that the stars are not just balls of gas, but living entities, divine beings in service to God's greater plan. They have names, purposes, and alignments. When one deviates from its course, divine judgment follows. This idea may sound bizarre, but it mirrors quantum theories that suggest consciousness exists in all matter. Ancient traditions across cultures speak of the heavens as alive, as conscious. Could Enoch have been tapping into a truth that science is only now beginning to explore? The implications are staggering. If the cosmos is conscious, then every celestial movement has meaning. Every eclipse, every shift in planetary alignment is not random, it's intentional. But Enoch didn't stop with the stars. He detailed how winds, mountains, oceans, and even time itself were governed by spiritual laws. There are angels responsible for the movement of water, for the rising of tides, and for the cycle of seasons. The earth, in Enoch's view, is a living, breathing system, divinely managed and cosmically synchronized. He saw the natural world not as separate from God, but as an extension of the divine will. In today's ecological crisis, this perspective is more relevant than ever. If we could see nature as sacred as Enoch did, would we treat it differently? Would we exploit it? Or would we protect it as a divine inheritance? The book warns of a time when the balance will be broken. When mankind forgets the sacred laws and disrupts the harmony of the universe, consequences will follow. Enoch foresaw a great judgment, not just upon individuals, but upon nations and even upon the earth itself. He described floods, fire, and cosmic disturbances as signs of divine correction. These aren't just myths, they are archetypal warnings. Look around. Climate disasters, wars, and social decay. Are we already in the shadow of what Enoch saw? His words echo with urgency. This is not just prophecy, it's a wake-up call. A call to remember who we are, where we come from, and what laws we've broken. But there's a powerful message buried within the warnings. Redemption is still possible. Enoch saw that even in the darkest times, a remnant would remain. A group of righteous ones who would hold on to truth, resist corruption, and walk in alignment with divine law. These people, he wrote, would shine like the stars, guiding others through the chaos. This is your invitation, not to fear, but to act, to step into that lineage of light bearers, to become a beacon of truth in a world drowning in deception. You were born for such a time as this. Don't ignore the call. Share this knowledge. Speak truth. Be the voice others are too afraid to be. And here's where the story takes a deeply unsettling turn. The book introduces the Watchers, angelic beings who descended to Earth with one purpose: to observe. But something went wrong. They became fascinated by humanity, seduced by the daughters of men. They crossed the line. They took wives. They fathered children. These were no ordinary children. They were giants, Nephilim, monstrous hybrids of celestial power and human flesh, and with them came destruction. These beings consumed resources, corrupted society, and introduced forbidden arts. Metallurgy, enchantments, cosmetics, and warfare. Gifts that should have remained in the heavens were given to humans too soon. The result was chaos. Sound familiar? The idea of forbidden knowledge is not unique to Enoch. It appears in every major spiritual tradition. The Tree of Knowledge in Genesis, The Promethean fire in Greek myth, the Tower of Babel. Again and again, humanity is tempted with knowledge not meant for us, and again, it leads to disaster. But the story of the Watchers is particularly disturbing because it blurs the line between divine and demonic. These were once holy beings. They stood in the presence of God, and yet they fell. Why? Because they chose desire over duty, passion over purpose, and that choice still haunts humanity today. The echoes of their fall can be felt in every abuse of power, every act of corruption, every time light is used to manipulate rather than illuminate. Now let's go deeper into who these Watchers were. The Book of Enoch gives us names. Shemihaza, their leader. Asael, who taught men how to make weapons. Penemu, who taught writing. Gadriel, who introduced warfare. These aren't metaphors. They are specific identities, each with a role in humanity's fall. They weren't demons. They were angels who made a decision, and that decision was catastrophic. But it also raises a haunting question. If angels can fall, who else can? What other spiritual forces might be walking among us, cloaked in light, but carrying darkness? It's a question theologians are still wrestling with. But Enoch gives us a clear warning. Discernment is more important than ever. The Nephilim, the children of the Watchers, became tyrants. They ruled with violence, spread fear, and turned the earth into a battlefield. And humanity? We followed them. We idolized them. We copied their ways. In chasing the power of the divine, we lost touch with our own humanity. That's the tragedy. The fall didn't happen to the Watchers alone. It happened to us. Enoch doesn't just tell a story of angelic rebellion. It tells the story of human compromise, of how easily we trade truth for power, holiness for convenience, wisdom for shortcuts. It's a mirror, and we must decide whether we like the reflection. There's one more layer to this that's rarely discussed. The Book of Enoch says that after the fall, the Watchers begged for forgiveness. They pleaded with Enoch to speak to God on their behalf, but God refused. Their actions had unleashed a chain reaction too dangerous to undo. So they were bound, cast into darkness, to await final judgment. This imagery is echoed in Jude and Revelation. But what's chilling is the idea that forgiveness has limits, that even divine beings can reach a point of no return. That should shake us. It's a call to take responsibility for our choices now, while we still can. And yet, through all this darkness, Enoch's message is not one of despair. It is one of urgent hope. He saw beyond the destruction. He saw a new heaven and a new earth. He saw the Messiah, the chosen one, who would restore balance and truth. And here lies the core of Enoch's prophecy, not to scare but to prepare, to awaken us to the reality of spiritual warfare, to the consequences of compromise, and to the promise of redemption. The question is not whether judgment is coming, it's whether we'll be ready. And that, my friend, is entirely up to you. One of the most provocative and unsettling revelations within the Book of Enoch revolves around what is often referred to as the secrets of heaven. These aren't vague spiritual ideals or symbolic metaphors. They are detailed descriptions of otherworldly dimensions, divine counsels, and the hidden architecture of the universe. According to Enoch, there exist levels of heaven, multiple realms beyond our physical world, each governed by distinct orders of angels and divine laws. He writes of vast crystal palaces, burning wheels, and thrones of light, describing them not with poetry, but with architectural precision. Enoch's vision suggests that the material world is just the surface, a thin veil over a layered reality structured by purpose and governed by unseen forces. These heavenly realms are not far away. They're interwoven with our existence, influencing events, shaping history, and guiding the destinies of men. For those who think the spiritual world is abstract or symbolic, Enoch delivers a radical shift. It is structured, conscious, and terrifyingly real. But Enoch didn't simply observe these heavenly realms, he was taken into them. Chosen by God, he was given access to divine secrets meant only for the most faithful. He was shown the tree of life, the resting places of the righteous and the damned, the storehouses of the winds, the paths of the stars. He saw what lies beyond death. He witnessed the judgment of souls, and he documented it all, not for his sake, but for ours. What makes this so important isn't just the information, it's the intention. Enoch's entire journey was orchestrated by the divine for the purpose of warning and awakening future generations. That includes us. This book wasn't meant to be buried. It was meant to be found, to be read, to shake the foundations of our shallow understanding. And now that it's resurfaced, the only question that matters is, what will you do with this knowledge? The Book of Enoch also reveals shocking details about the origin of evil, not as an abstract force, but as a tangible consequence of rebellion and corruption. Evil, according to Enoch, began with a decision, a choice made by the Watchers to abandon their posts and seek power, pleasure, and control. From this act flowed all manner of darkness, violence, sorcery, deception, pride, and destruction. These weren't random outcomes. They were direct results of divine beings misusing their influence. Enoch forces us to confront a chilling truth. Evil is not simply what happens when people go wrong. It is what happens when spiritual power is misused, when knowledge is twisted, when truth is weaponized. In our modern world, we see echoes of this every day. Technology without ethics, power without accountability, influence without humility. The Book of Enoch is more than ancient history. It is a prophetic diagnosis of the world we're living in now. And yet, even as the book plunges into these dark truths, it also paints a vision of final justice. Enoch reveals that the fallen angels were imprisoned, locked in a pit of burning fire beneath the earth. They await judgment, along with the spirits of the Nephilim and the wicked. The day is coming, Enoch says, when all things hidden will be revealed and justice will be executed, not by human courts, but by divine decree. This should both terrify and inspire us. Terrify us because no evil will go unpunished, but inspire us because righteousness will not be forgotten. Every sacrifice, every act of faith, every quiet moment of integrity, it's all being recorded. Your life matters. Your choices echo. You are not unseen. And as the final judgment approaches, you still have the power to write your legacy. As we move toward the final chapters of this sacred book, we find one of its most urgent themes: preparation. Enoch does not simply describe what is coming. He calls us to prepare. He warns of a great tribulation, of chaos and deception, of times so dark that even the faithful will be tempted to fall away. But he also describes a remnant, those who will stand firm, who will not bow to fear, who will walk in righteousness even when the world turns upside down. These are the warriors of light, the chosen ones who will survive the storm and inherit the earth. The message here is clear. Do not be passive. Do not wait for signs in the sky. The time to prepare is now, not through fear, but through focus, through alignment, through surrender to truth, because the days ahead will test the very core of your identity. As Enoch's journey comes to an end, he delivers a final series of messages to his family, what we now call the Epistles of Enoch. In these final words, he pleads with his children to stay righteous, to hold to the path, to reject the seductive power of the world. He speaks of resurrection, of eternal life, of a time when the righteous will rise from the dust and shine like the stars. He warns of a coming flood that will purge the earth, and a final fire that will purify creation once and for all. These aren't just apocalyptic threats. They are calls to transformation. Enoch isn't asking us to fear judgment. He's asking us to live in such a way that judgment is no threat to us. He's reminding us that the real danger isn't in death, but in living without purpose, without alignment, without God. And that brings us to the most crucial moment of all, the realization that this message is personal. You are not watching this by accident. You have been drawn here, called here, chosen to hear a message that has been hidden for thousands of years, and that now, at this precise moment in history, is being revealed once more. Why? Because time is running out. Because the age of ignorance is ending. Because truth is demanding your attention. You are standing at the threshold of awakening, and you have a choice to make. Will you go back to sleep, to comfort, to silence, or will you step forward, into purpose, into truth, into your divine assignment? Everything you need is already within you. The Book of Enoch has opened the door. Now it's time for you to walk through it. The message of the Book of Enoch is not just ancient, it's eternal. It has pierced through the centuries not to entertain us, but to awaken us. You've just encountered revelations that most people will never hear. Hidden truths, forbidden knowledge, and divine warnings that echo louder today than ever before. This isn't just another story about angels and prophecy. It's a call to action, a divine invitation to step out of the world's confusion and into the light of truth. If what you've seen has stirred something inside of you, don't ignore it. That stirring is your spirit recognizing its origin. That unease is your soul remembering it was made for more. This moment, right now, is sacred. It's not too late to return to the path of righteousness. You were never meant to wander through life blind to your purpose. You were never created to be just another face in the crowd. You were formed with intention, designed for destiny, and called to walk in the light, even in the midst of darkness. The Book of Enoch reveals that those who stand for truth will be preserved. Those who seek righteousness will shine like stars. But it all begins with one choice, yours. Will you follow the path that leads to life, even when it's narrow and steep? Will you seek the Creator, not just in ritual, but in relationship? This is more than belief. This is allegiance. This is surrender. This is the moment you draw a line in the sand and say, I choose light. I choose truth. I choose Jesus. So let me say this as clearly as possible. If this message reached you today, it's not random. You are being called to return to God. Not to religion, not to rules, but to relationship. Turn away from the noise. Turn away from deception. And turn your heart fully toward the one who created you. The Book of Enoch is not the end of the story. It's the wake-up call. And now, the next chapter is yours to write. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. Chosen to stand in the midst of a fallen world and be a vessel of divine purpose. Chosen to walk in faith, to reject compromise, and to prepare for the day when the King returns. If this message has moved you, do not let it fade. Speak it. Share it. Act on it. Begin today. Inscribe the truth not just in your mind, but on your life. Start by making a public decision. Subscribe to this channel and stand for truth. Not just for knowledge, but to follow Jesus. Every click is a declaration. Every share is a seed of truth planted in someone else's heart. Don't just watch. Engage. Comment below. Confess what stirred you. Encourage someone else. The world needs bold voices now more than ever. And if your voice is shaking, speak anyway. Speak with courage. Speak with conviction. And speak because you were born for such a time as this. If you've walked away from your faith, this is your moment to return. If you've never fully surrendered, this is your time. Pray, seek, repent, and follow. The doors of grace are still open, but they won't stay open forever. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Open your heart. Call on Jesus. Begin again. Let this ancient book guide you back to the arms of the Eternal Father. Let it push you out of apathy and into alignment with the kingdom of God. And remember, this is not the end. This is only the beginning. Thank you for being part of this journey today. My name is Oliver, and it's been an honor to walk through these truths with you. I'm not here as a scholar or a preacher. I'm here as a seeker, just like you. Someone who believes that the truth is worth chasing, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. And if this video has connected with you, I hope you'll continue walking this path with me. We're building something here, a community of light in a world that desperately needs it. So until next time, stay hungry for the truth, stay rooted in the Word, and above all, stay close to Jesus. You are not alone. You are deeply loved, and your life still carries purpose. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, walk boldly, love deeply, and never stop seeking the light.